We're starting the newspaper review this morning with The Nation. Major headline, Tinubu, Nigeria attracted $20 billion foreign investments this year. APC members to vote in 8,809 electoral wards for reps tickets. Makinde declares for president on APM platform. PDP disowns Governors Alliance claim. Zoning not priority in ADC, says Hayat Dean. Amechi are most qualified for ticket. At the bottom strip, we've got PDP screens presidential, governorship, National Assembly aspirant. Which story are we going with first?
Okay, so the 8,000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the APC primary is happening across the country. So the APC, of course, are looking to fill in their candidacies for all the 360 seats at the House of Reps, at the Federal House of Reps, and they'll be having elections. So they have about 8,809 wards across the 74 local government councils, and primaries will be happening across board, including my friend running for the federal seat at the Ibejuleki local LCDA area. That's Barrister Lukman Akinsoya, Pepsi Foundation chair founder. So I wish him all the best. I'm rooting for him with all my heart. And he will make an excellent lawmaker.
Endorsement.
Oh, of course. This is my.
It's okay, go on.
I know you.
What words cannot say. The action he knows.
You know, if you Google him,
it's fine. It's fine.
As you know, urge all members to ensure a rancor-free and fair process. Of course, INEC has also directed resident electoral commissioners to monitor all primaries across board. Of course, they stated that 19 political parties have submitted their schedule. That's INEC. And there are 20 political parties registered by INEC. So one party not submit anyone. And we're hoping that tomorrow's showdown will not be a showdown, you know. So there will be shadow elections by the ruling party. And this is through direct primaries. Everybody queue behind your own, but I'm sure I'm rooting for my person.
Yes, we know. Please.
Yeah, so I have the story on the Lagos State government urging career companies and other stakeholders to prioritize riders' safety over profit by training them and enforcing standards. And this is something that the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority has been doing. They've intensified their efforts to curb the rising number of accidents involving dispatch and career riders operating across the state. According to the statistics, we've had 379 accidents recorded by the agency between 2024 and 2025. Now, he gave this advice, that is the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Transportation, Mr. Olawale Musa. He gave this advice yesterday at the LASMA Strategic Road Safety Stakeholder Engagement with Couriers, and he said that it's important that the ministry's vision continues to excel, and that vision is a safer Lagos where discipline ensures mobility, protects lives, and sustains growth. He also mentioned that Lagos career sector drives economic activities and livelihoods, and so we must insist that responsibility should match recognition to build a transport system that protects life and supports prosperity.
Okay, so on Nigeria and Germany partnership, they say Nigeria and Germany have signed a new development cooperation agreement expected to strengthen investment, infrastructure, financing, and economic growth, with Germany committing fresh financial support worth 665 million euros and an additional 300 million euros export credit guarantee framework for Nigeria. They said the Federal Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning said the partnership is expected to support long-term development projects, improve investment flows, and deepen economic ties between Nigeria and Germany. The Minister for State's Budget and Economic Planning, that's Dr. Uzoka, she also said that the agreement reflects the growing relationship between both countries and comes at a crucial period in Nigeria's economic reform program. They said, she explained that the cooperation will support Nigeria's development priorities in agriculture, renewable energy, industrial growth, healthcare, skills acquisition, and employment generation. Yeah, this is a very good one. So let's hope that it works out well.
Let's move on to the next. I was looking for Nima's favorite paper, but it's not here today. Daily Sun is our next paper. Major headline, federal government considers new strategies to fight terrorist bandits, to deploy AI and to drone technology for military operations. Tinubu urges consensus, peace, women, youth inclusion as APC's primaries kick off. Makinde joins presidential race, calls for unity against one-party rule. Atiku Amechi submits ADC nomination forms. APC government running Ponzi economy. This is according to ADC. And at the top, we have Julius B. Omodayo Owotuga, appointed executive director at First Bank and presidency. Even with gun to my head to stay on, I'll leave after 4 years. This is Obi.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
So, yeah,
okay, that's the one you took.
Yes, that's what I took. So the Nigeria Democratic Congress, NDC chieftain and the former governor of Anambra State, of course, Mr. Peter Obi, was at an interview on a sister TV station. And he says, what was being questioned, he says, I want to be a one-term president because of stability. I would not stay a day longer than 4 years, even with a gun to my head. And of course, he used the opportunity to go at all the other issues, talk about the president not being as effective as we would like. He talked about, you know, the issues that happened between the African Democratic Party, how now he ended up at the NDC. Okay. But this particular cash,
yes, that is Nigerians, what do you think? Do we believe that a Nigerian politician will get there and just leave after 4 years? Do we really think it's possible? Because somehow when they get there, things change. We now start hearing, as a result of,
gets finished. Let us allow him do the next 4 years, so he will be able to. That's the story that will come. Let's finish up our project.
What he's saying that he believes if he gets there in 4 years, he will.
Is enough. 4 years is enough for him to fix Nigeria's problem.
All right, talking about boosting security, Nigeria is set to strengthen its defense architecture with the deployment of artificial intelligence-powered surveillance systems and advanced anti-drone technology as part of its efforts to modernize the country's military capabilities. Now, the Minister of Defense, Christopher Musa, he disclosed this during a high-level visit to Monaco, Spain, where he led the Nigerian delegation to conclude discussions on the multi-domain hybrid intelligence shield project. Now, according to Musa, he says that this initiative is designed to enhance border security, protect urban centers, and improve the country's response to emerging security threats. The project is expected to introduce AI-driven surveillance systems capable of identifying threats rapidly through smart algorithms, while anti-drone technology will be deployed to intercept and neutralize unmanned aerial threats. Wow. This is something that we've always canvassed for, and the fact that our security issues seem larger than life, they are literally crippling us as a country. We would think that by now, all of these things would have left the shores of paper, and we would be seeing it in actual reality. But let us hope that...
Yeah, we are finally gotten there. A little late, but better than...
Never.
Never, yes. Yeah. And our next paper is Vanguard. Major headline, 2027, Atiku Obi Amechi Makinde Hayatidin set to battle Tinubu. APC primaries, Tinubu warns against rancor, urges fair play. Wike dismisses PDP APM alliance, says it's political 419. Wike. Nigeria to attract $20 billion in foreign investments in this year. Customs hands over illicit substances worth 16.7 billion to NDL, 16.7 billion naira to NDLEA, and how mafia fought to frustrate $20 billion Dangote petroleum refinery, according to Aliko Dangote. What story do we have?
So, of course, Africa's uncle was in an interview with the chief executive officer of Norway's Sovereign Wealth Fund, Nikolai Tangen, and this was monitored by Vanguard. He was talking about what he faced, you know, and why he did, you know, push ahead. He said, we looked at oil. Africa produces oil, but many countries don't refine it, and they export crude and import refined products, which drains foreign reserves. And said, so he decided whether or not they like it, he would, you know, set up a refinery here. And he said that some influential fuel importers, which he called the mafia, you know, fought hard to frustrate the establishment of the $20 billion refinery. He said they feared that the refinery would alter trade flows and that encourage massive importation of refined products into the country. And so, of course, they worked against it. I said he had to fight to push through. He said the 2013 refinery, the project which started in 2013, encountered many obstacles, including, establishing entrenched interest in the oil sector, cost of building critical infrastructure such as parts and heavy equipment facility, and even a treated water plant. These were enormous challenges that he faced, but he still pushed through. So well done. We are happy with you.
Very inspiring.
Thank you for creating an alternative locally.
Yeah.
It's a major thing.
Okay, so I have the customs story. They said the Tinkan Island Port Command of the Nigerian Customs Service has handed over a major seized container of illicit substances valued at 16.7 billion to the NDLEA, following a successful joint intelligence-led operation. They said, according to the controller, acting on credible intelligence jointly gathered by the Nigeria Customs Service and the NDLEA office. And the NDLEA officers of both agencies intercepted and subjected one 45th container with number HAM 247034. They said this container originated from Toronto, Canada, and according to him was found to contain 8,347 packages of cannabis, which weighed a total of 4,017 grams.
I was just wondering what the update is for today.
Yeah, so they handed over the
okay, because the story is still the same.
Yeah,
it's a huge deal.
So they have handed it over to
the amount of money people are making on.
Honestly.
The huge investments that we're supposed to attract in foreign direct investment, according to our very President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he has projected that Nigeria is set to attract close to $20 billion in foreign direct investments, thanks to transparency, efficiency, and openness. Now, he was speaking at the ongoing Africa CEO Forum in Kigali in Rwanda, and he says, I can beat my chest. So this is a bit of bragging rights going on here, that Nigeria will attract close to $20 billion. He said he has put in place necessary incentives to attract investment into Nigeria, removing bottlenecks and encouraging investors. Tinubu's projection comes 2 months after he approved a production tax credit to fast-track Shell's $20 billion final investment decision in deep water projects. He has also gone on to encourage African leaders to establish an African commodity platform where African countries can trade among themselves. He says, I believe in Africa first, because I started with Nigeria first, and we have all the resources it takes. It's time for Africa to leapfrog. We don't want scavengers. We don't want excavators. If you know you're going to invest in our country, you need to bring value to what we have as a nation.
I like the way he's talking at this particular summit from the one Kenya and now in Rwanda. It captures a lot of them, just priding. I hope that, it's beyond talk that we'll continue to see action locally.
Yes, let me take this, the politicians in PDP and APM. The FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, they say yesterday he tore into claims of an alliance between PDP and Allied People's Movement, that's APM. He said that this narrative is fraudulent and he squarely blamed the governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, for peddling what he called political 419 ahead of 2027. So the party's faction loyal to Wike, they commenced screening of presidential, governorship, and National Assembly aspirants ahead of the 2027 general election. Meanwhile, the Seyi Makinde camp, they fired back at Wike, saying that the alliance has come to stay, and it will be determined by the elections 2027. This is I love politics.
INEC has notice of this alliance.
Then there's also the what's happening between the security agencies were invited and had invited former Senate President Wabara, Kabiru Turaki, SAN, and others for alleged impersonation linked to the formation of a rival interim NWC. I hope they're able to sort out all these issues before, the D-Day. But I think this is what makes politics interesting, right? The back and forth and the what if and what if not. Let's move on to Tribune, Nigerian Tribune. Major headline, Makinde declares for presidency. We've taken that. Southwest Development Commission secures rail license to drive regional connectivity, economic transformation. SEC raises alarm over rising Ponzi scheme on social media. Automotive industrial growth, ADDC, DG Osanipin calls for strategic development of after-sales services. OPay supports over 1,000 Osun students through Play for a Child initiative. ADC falls federal government move to seek fresh $1.25 billion World Bank loan. APC primaries, Tinubu cautions party leadership. Governors urges fair contest. And the health story, scientists reveal best exercise for knee arthritis pain relief. Who wants to go first?
I have the news. So they said a major study published in the BMJ found that aerobic activities such as walking, cycling, and swimming are the most effective exercises for people living with knee osteoarthritis. Of course, these activities, they said, produces greatest improvement in pain reduction, physical function, working ability, and overall quality of life.
You have a backup opinion? I agree, because many times you think that when you're sitting down doing nothing, that you're protecting your knees. No. Sedentary lifestyle is very hard on your knees. It's better to use them.
I think the older you get, the more
walk
activities.
You need to be
active.
Maybe in light doses.
I was
It got me to reflect.
watching Imran earlier, just jumping and scaling and flying.
Yeah.
I was saying to him, better take this energy
Enjoy
to your
it.
old age, because that's where you even need it more.
Right.
Who else
The
wants to go?
story on Ponzi schemes. The Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, has warned Nigerians against investing in illegal online investment schemes that are being aggressively promoted on social media, saying many of them bear the hallmarks of Ponzi and prohibited investment schemes, which are capable of exposing investors to serious financial losses. He issued the public notice on Thursday, and he said the commission has observed a growing trend of unregistered investment platforms operating on digital channels like WhatsApp, Telegram, Instagram, Facebook, and many other websites. According to the SEC, many of the schemes, they promise unrealistic and guaranteed returns to unsuspecting members of the public while operating outside the regulatory framework of the Nigerian capital market. So they're supposed to have regulation, but now they're going outside of the scope of what their framework allows them to do. And because of the high, some of them promise as high as 60%. You know, you don't want to say that because there's hunger in the land. There's small money where you can't get now. You can't lose and can't they cry. Who you they cry for? Nigerians don't seem to learn from precedents, and
You would think
until it happens again.
I mean, I still remember that particular. Yes, you would. Yes, you would think that after that nobody would try it again. But they come up, I guess, with new names. Maybe some people were too young when it first happened. They didn't hear the stories and then fall for it again. They've rebranded. I like that.
Some also when you
I don't have
trust
story
before they,
children.
they go at you. They deceive you subtly. They attend your.
Don't make sure they do all the payouts.
Do
They
everything.
gained your trust.
Yes, and
In
also
fact,
you now go and
then
bring your
they will
family
now-
member, carry your school fees,
there was
carry
this
your house
street
rent.
collector in our neighborhood. I never contributed, but later the
Let me
women
take-
were contributing to him. It's because he lived with
In
them,
the community.
unlike those that they didn't know. Everybody goes to his house sometimes to pay late. They didn't know when he moved. He moved these things
And
in
left.
bags.
He left quietly.
They went one
Let me
time
take
with
with.
an empty house.
Let me take The Guardian.
Yeah.
That's the last paper. Major headline: Economic crunch squeezes poultry farmers, pushes eggs off menus. Very true. Many people are complaining. Makinde declares for 2027 presidency. Wike rejects PDP-APM alliance. Amid pushback, APC opts for direct primaries as Tinubu warns against do-or-die politics. NMA threatens $1 billion lawsuit against EFCC over assault of UUTH doctors. And Nigeria will attract almost $20 billion FDI this year. Tinubu projects, we've taken that. NEMA alerts 30 states to possible severe flooding, urges prevention. ADC falls fresh loan, federal government economic model. And we have MSF treats over 440,000 malnourished Nigerian children as hunger crisis worsens.
Okay, so
And federal government worried as regions receiving 80% education funding record lowest literacy rates. We can't take your story.
okay,
That's all we can take on the papers for this morning.